Saturday, May 5th, I'm going live stream again. Yesterday, I did the first live stream for Monaco 64. It looks like we got no one so far, so we wait a little bit. Nicholas Smith is here. Hi, Nicholas. How are you? Today, I want to look at the mainstream media. I went out to get the car washed. I played some golf this morning. It was really sunny here in the UK, really nice day. And I bought the FT weekend, which I can say is £3.90. I remember when it used to be under £2 for the weekend edition, and it's shrunk as well. And the other magazine I got the Rothschild magazine, The Economist. So more to look at the data that they have behind at the back of the magazine. I always found that their economic and financial indicators are really good. They've got up-to-date numbers, and we're going to look into that. And I'll also be answering questions for everyone. Hi, William. Good morning. Greetings from Arizona. Hi. Good afternoon here in the UK, but greetings from London to William and Nicholas and everyone else that's joining. Billy has gone to sleep already. I had to go and pick him up upstairs because he didn't want to come down. So he's here. Billy is fine. He's just fallen asleep when he gets on that couch. I've got my End the Fed shirt. I've had this for a while. So, and on the back it says "Sound Money for America," if you can see it. So the title of this live stream is "World is Drowning in Debt," and there's an article here from April from Business Insider, and it says the world has never been in this much debt. Global debt levels rose by 21 trillion last year and 237 trillion, the highest level on record. And and the reason why debt is continuing to increase is that the Keynesians that are in charge are the only thing they know how to do is to create more debt. They think that more debt and government spending will spur the economy. They don't understand free markets, sound money, and that's why I bought these mainstream, publications, the FT and the Economist today, and we're going to look at see what they're saying. This is the UK edition, so it's probably different from the US edition. But one thing that caught my attention was this headline, and it says, "US tells China to slash trade deficit." The headline itself, in my opinion, is is wrong anyway, because China cannot slash the trade deficit. China has a trade surplus. So if anyone could slash a trade deficit, it would be the US. So let's see who's here. We've got 63 people already, which is good. Hi, Brian. Good morning. Helen from Singapore. Moosey Moose from Canada. Hi, Moosey Moose. Damien from Australia. Billy is asleep already. Maybe, I don't know if he's going to be interested in the subject, but we'll have to see. Adam Blanche, nice shirt. Yeah, I like my End the Fed shirt. Hi, Julian Jones from Liverpool. So we got like a multinational chat here. Or live stream. So the article here, US tells China to slash trade deficit. Demand for 200 billion cut escalates brinksmanship. Talks in Beijing close inconclusively. So it's funny how the Americans or President Trump are blaming the Chinese for the trade deficit. I personally think we need to look at Triffin's paradox. He was a Belgian-American economist in the 60s, and he used to talk about how if you have a reserve currency, a fiat reserve currency, people are going to need that fiat reserve currency to do business around the world. And that's what's happened. We've had the fiat dollar, and the only way for countries to operate is to try to sell as much to the US as possible so they can earn dollars to trade worldwide. And that's what's happened. I'm sure that Donald Trump and the people in the administration and the Chinese know this. I think Donald Trump was the campaign. He was advised by Judy Shelton, who's not, she's an economist, and she talks about how under a gold standard, under free market money, and usually people in a free market choose gold and silver. There is no political whim. People don't create money out of thin air. It's based on value, and you'll find that prior to the Bretton Woods being scrapped by Nixon in 1971, we didn't have any. The trade balances were pretty. Trade was balanced because it was based on something of value, on gold. But nowadays, it's based on politicians everywhere in the world trying to get the best for their constituents, and that's why we have this problem. So I'm going to stop right now and see who's here now. We got 95 people. Jonathan from Trinidad and Tobago. Hi, Jonathan. I have been to Trinidad and Tobago many years ago, I think back in the late 80s. I really enjoyed the Trinidad and Tobago. I went to Port of Spain. Let's see, Chris Tiansima. The main reason debt is increasing is simply because central banks are buying up tons of real wealth by issuing worthless fiat currency. It's a very good deal for them. I agree. And I think what they're going to do as well is they're going to pump everything up. They're going to collapse everything. And all the public infrastructure is going to be bought out by the private equity and the 1%. And I think that's happening already. James Scott. Hi, James. Hi, John McGee. Good God. Okay. Randall McMurphy. Crypto bull run and hyperinflation. Yeah, hyperinflation is a loss of confidence in the fiat currencies. It could happen overnight. Good morning, Leonard Breitling from California. Johnny Hicks, when do you think the crash will come? It could come anytime. I think we already topped in January, the stock market. But we could have a crash of the currency, which is something we've never had for a reserve currency. We had a crash of the German mark, the Reichsmark in 1923, the Weimar hyperinflation. We're also having right now, if you look at the SFT, the crash of the Argentine peso, which happened like out of the blue. They even had to raise rates to 40%. David Phillips from London. Hi, Dave. Raul Bacharol. Where to be once the dollar collapses? Well, just make sure you don't have too much wealth in the bank in paper dollars. You don't even need just make sure that you're not exposed to the system. Don't have all the money in the bank, and don't keep too much paper money, I would say. Try to keep as little cash as possible. John McGee, hip hip, hooray for the US dollar, which I had shed load of them from John Luger. Jens Jorgensen, I enjoy the daily videos. Yeah, this is great. Ever since I bought this new computer a couple of days ago, I update my iMac. My MacBook Pro was like almost 10 years old and it was getting really slow. This is great here, the iMac 21.5 inch, and it's really excellent. Hervé Pratt, hey there, Emmanuel, French dude from Berlin. Salut Hervé, ça va? Je parle français aussi. Seth Shepard, hi guys, hi Shepard. Randall McMurphy, it will be awesome to see the dollar collapse, exciting times. And the thing about the dollar, it's not only the dollar that will collapse, because I'll have a look at the statistics here in a minute from The Economist. It will be all fiat currencies. All fiat currencies are a derivative of the dollar. If you go back to 1944 and the Bretton Woods Agreement, even the euro, is a derivative of the Deutschmark, a French franc. So everything is going to implode. It's not just the dollar. Is this all, Jason Mullings, is this all concerning an assault on communism and the death of capitalism? Well, I don't think, if anything, I think we've got fascism right now. We haven't got communism because in the West, because things are still privately owned, but you could argue that a lot of the 1% is the government, and I think it's more fascism. It's coordination between the very rich and the government. And that's why we need small government and sound money, because without fiat money, this wouldn't be happening. Jeremy Pace, Mexico is not running out of silver, according to Cliff High's report. In fact, they will be making exclusive deals with China. Well, I haven't seen that. When could gold break out? Hi, Johnny. Johnny Hicks is asking when could gold break out. Well, I think it will be this year. Might not be next week or next month, but we're close to it, in my opinion. Maybe later on in the summer. It is frustrating, but I think they're having a tough time keeping it down. Yesterday, the move in gold was encouraging. For people who think in dollars in the U.S., gold hasn't done well. But actually, if you look in Swiss francs, in sterling, and euro, gold is at the high of the year. And so gold finished around 971 in pounds. And recently, it'd been trading around 950, 945. So I think the fact that gold is doing better than the dollar against other currencies is encouraging. Let's see. El Bandito at Judith Canahan at this ratio, 80-1. Yeah, we are around 80-1. That's why I think we're near. It's going to be very hard for gold and silver to go that much lower, because at these levels, usually we're near a bottom for precious metals. If we were at 50-1 and we were here, then it would be a different story. Anonymous, aka Gene Hackman, in that Will Smith movie. I like Enemy of the State, actually, and the line that when Will Smith asks Gene Hackman, why did you blow up the building? And he said, because he made a phone call. So I like that movie, actually. Helen, the plunge protection team will not allow currency collapse. Maybe not for now, but I think it's something they want. They're not that stupid. They know that they need to get rid of the debt. All they need to create is an excuse for it, so that people don't realize it was done on purpose. I think they will allow it. Let's see. Peter Ramekers, silver is suppressed, so dollars can be printed in huge numbers. Yeah, but that can't last forever, Peter, I don't think, in my opinion. Mr. User, great shirt. Where can I get the same? Well, I bought this shirt years ago. Maybe if you Google "End the Fed" T-shirt, you might be able to find it. I don't remember where I bought it. It's over like almost 10 years ago. I've had this shirt. And live exports. Let's see. Randall McMurphy. Trump owns Bitcoin. Well, maybe he does. Jessel, interesting comment on TVR silver. Randall McMurphy, lol, okay, try the NSA. So let's have a look at The Economist. I know it's a Rothschild magazine. Sometimes we got to look at what the enemy is doing. And one thing that I haven't bought, I don't buy The Economist, but one thing I noticed is the price. It's a weekly magazine. And if you look here, it's £5.99. I remember when it used to be less than £3. So much for no inflation. But one thing that caught my attention is on page 84 here. I'll show it to you. Is the economic and financial indicators. So I go through them. GDP. So the latest for the first quarter in the US is 2.9. China 6.8. Britain 2%. Japan 2%. Britain 1.2%. And Canada 2.9. But I've spoken about this, um, in previous videos of how they calculate the GDP, that they include government spending. So if the government is spending more than they take in, if they have a deficit, um, that deficit means that, let's say GDP grows by 1% and the deficit is 1%. That means if you didn't have that deficit, GDP would actually be flat. So I was looking here at the budget balances for the US. Right now, in the first quarter of 2018, the budget deficit is 4.6%. So, and they've got 2.9% growth. So if you take out all the government spending, the US is actually shrinking. China, even China has a big deficit, not as big, but 3.5%. So you take out from 6.8, they're growing more like at 3%, 3.3. Japan, their deficit is almost 5% of GDP, and they're growing at 2%. So they're basically shrinking if it wasn't for the government. Britain, the same. Britain has a budget deficit, according to The Economist, of 2.7%, and it's growing by 1.2. So how does this affect debt? Well, every year you have deficits, that adds up to the debt. So the world is drowning in debt and deficits. So it's not only the dollar that's in trouble, I think it's all the fiat currencies. So let's have a look at the comments now. Again, Trump will put the final touches on crashing the dollar and bringing in Bitcoin. That could be true. Damon Wright, Mario, I really like your Explorer. Not sure what that means, Explorer. Anonymous, doesn't the BIS run the US Fed? And doesn't the US Fed help the US economy greatly the way the Central Bank of London helps the UK? Without the Central Bank of London, Commonwealth votes. Well, yeah, the BIS is basically the arm of the central banks. They are actually the central bank's banker. And what the BIS does, it operates above the law with no transparency. So whenever, and I think that's what the central banks use the BIS to manipulate the markets, and people can't find out about it. And that's the BIS. The BIS is in Basel, Switzerland, but it's like above the law. It's not really controlled by the Swiss government. It's actually sovereign territory. So it's completely above the law. Jeremy Pace at David Phillips, gold is rehypothecated, sold multiple times. Yeah, that's true, especially in London. That's why the LBMA and the bullion market is here. There's no limit to hypothecation in London, the city of London. There is in the States. Anonymous, let's see. Larry Dibble, do you think they're going to be forced to do a monetary reset when they run out of tricks? Yeah, I think it will happen. I don't think it will be like the one in 1934 that FDR did. It will be more market, the market will decide the rates of the reset. That's and the reset will be like, if you remember in 08, there was the big collapse. And then the next year they had the first G20. And I think that was kind of a reset. And I think the same thing will happen. We'll get a big crisis and they'll meet together and they'll come up with new rules for the game. It's basically the game is ending. They're going to like get rid of the present game. And I think you need to have gold and silver and cryptocurrencies as well. Judith Kernahan, looks like we are repeating 2007 now. The housing market getting ready to go down. I agree, Judith. And the other thing that I was looking the other day is the chart of the euro and the pound. They're starting to go down. And in 08, they went down as well against the dollar. And I know gold corrected in 08 when we had that crisis from 1,000 to 682. But I think this time gold is going to go the other way, because back in 08, gold had come from 250 to 1,000 from 2002. But now gold is actually hasn't done much since we're only 30% higher since '08. Let's see. Jake Jones, great to see you live, watching from Hong Kong. Oh, hi, Jake. Nice to see you here. D. Mitch, hello. Hi, D. Mitch. Raul Barcero, gold or crypto? Well, I think you should have both, gold or crypto. And of course, if you don't like cryptos, don't have cryptos. Government, Michael Quick. Government is a corporation called Serco. Yeah, I've read about Serco. I saw a YouTube video about Serco. Yeah, I think it's a big contractor for the UK government. It's a contractor also for all the Commonwealth countries. Even in the US, I see they contract for the Department of Homeland Security. And I think there's going to be other people like Serco. They're going to take over, because if you remember, when third world countries collapse, you have all the Western corporations go there and buy everything for pennies on the dollar. I think the same thing is going to happen in the West now. When we get this collapse, the governments are going to sell off all the public assets that taxpayers help finance. And they're going to sell it for nothing to their friends, which is a bad thing, but it's the reality, I think. D. Mitch, they seem to be okay to accept more than 2% inflation without raising interest rates. Yeah, they're doing this, D. Mitch, because they're fooling people. It's called financial repression. That's one way for them to kind of write down the debt. They devalue the money, and people are still getting paid less. So that's a way to devalue the debt, the inflation. And that's why they don't raise interest rates. Paul Fensom, we are all guessing. Ask Bill Murphy of GATA. 18 years he has told us it's going to the moon. Lol. Well, Paul, I've followed Bill Murphy since 2002. It did go to the moon in 2011 and it's come back down. But I think Bill Murphy is right. They have been manipulating gold for a long time. It doesn't mean to say he's wrong. Damon Wright, Mary, should I have large bars and small coin holdings in gold? Hi, Damien. I don't know where you are. In the UK, sovereigns are like tax-free. So if you make large capital gains in sovereigns, there's no capital gains tax. But there is in bars and other coins that are not coins of the realm. And it depends. I mean, if you have millions of dollars to invest, yeah, maybe some bars. But if you only have like $5,000, I just recommend coins. Let's have a look here. Leonard Breitling, Mario, I like to buy silver eagles. Whatever extra I have, I like to have in hand, not the bank. What do you say? Oh, I totally agree with you, Leonard. I have silver, not in the. I have physical. I got silver eagles. I got silver Britannias. I've got some. I got these as well. They're like not pre-1965 U.S. silver. This is like a half crown from the UK. That's pre-1919. So yeah, I like silver coins and some bars as well. High Shock Rock, Serco. I think you mean Serco runs all prisons in the land down under. Yeah, I saw that as well. They're everywhere, Serco. And interestingly about Serco, I looked at the CEO of Serco is a guy called Soames. And if you the name Soames, Soames, he's actually a grandson of Winston Churchill. So more the elite. They're going to end up owning everything. Or almost everything. Hopefully we can own something as well. Okay, let's see here. Damien Wright, I'm in Australia. Hi, Damien. Jake Jones, let's see. Cash is trash. Gold is real money. I agree. Paul Fensom, thanks, Myra. I appreciate your answer. You're welcome. Ma'at. Coins have a large markup in Oz. Check Perth Mint website for prices. Yeah, that's the problem. Like silver, I would have a lot more silver if I didn't have to pay VAT. But if things happen the way we think they're going to happen, everything implodes, the VAT won't matter. We have to pay 20% VAT in the UK. Hervé Pratt, Mario, why central banks do not create their own cryptocurrency? Well, because cryptocurrencies are supposed to be decentralized. They're supposed to be transparent, open source, and central banks don't like transparency. They like control. If you look at Steemit and EOS, created by Dan Larimer, he doesn't run Steemit anymore. He wrote the how can I say, the protocols, but now it's a community, decentralized communities. That's why I think it's an oxymoron. I don't think central banks will ever create their own cryptocurrencies. And if they do, I wouldn't trust it. Rosetta138, hi Mario, thank you for your insight in your videos. You're welcome. Alexandros Sirambides, Melbourne, Florida. Hi, Alexandros. Let's see. Jake Jones, Britain's currently issuing 1/4 ounce gold coins. Yeah, that's right. I've got a couple of those. Sedona TV, love the videos, Mario. Look forward to them every day. Yeah, I'm enjoying the live feed as well. It's really good. Someone had asked me a few months ago if I was going to do live stream, and I hadn't. But now that I got new technology, new equipment, I see I've got 195 viewers. That's pretty good. Gesso, HR 5404 will be stillborn. Yeah, I've made a video about that. That congressman, I think from West Virginia, that bill, I don't know if it will go through through Congress. And even if it goes through Congress, will Donald Trump sign it into law? Nicholas Smith, I love precious metals, but the younger generation seem to be shunning it, like they like cars, watches, like they are cars, wristwatches, and homes. That's true, but the thing about precious metals, when they start going up, I think there will be a lot of interest, because there's something about in people's DNA about gold and silver, and that's why central banks really try to control it. It's the silver bullet for central bankers, isn't it? Because people know that deep down it's a valuable commodity, it's real money, and once it starts going up, I think even young people will get interested. Jeff G, Jim Rogers says next year will be crash. Do you agree? I think it's already started, Jeff. The top in 2000 and top in January above 26,000 in the Dow, and I think we're gonna, if you go back to 2008, the market actually I think topped in 2007, so it started in 2007. He could be right, Jim Rogers, but it's difficult to predict exactly. And even Jim Rogers says, I don't know, I'm not clever enough to predict when. Gigi, do you think they will continue confiscate precious metals from people? No, I don't think they will, because it's not many people that have precious metals. It's not like in the 30s where it was money. They had to confiscate it. So I don't think they will confiscate it. APT, Mario, do you think miners will go higher while the price of metals remains suppressed? Some of the miners are already rebounding quite well. And I think, yeah, the timing isn't always the same. I think in the early 80s, gold topped in January of 1980, and I think the miners kept going up for the next 2 years or so. So they're not really linked completely. RJN 4444, you should do more interviews. Yeah. Let's see here. Damon Wright, Mario, can you please update us on Petro U1? You talked about the opening, but not much since. Well, I've been keeping track, Damien, of the volume that they're trading in the Petro U1 in Shanghai, and it's been going up quite a bit, which is, I think it's going to be a successful contract. And I've seen the open interest is going up. So yeah, I think it's going well. It's going to be the financing. How can I say? It's going to be like important for the one belt, one road, uh, Eurasian system. So yeah, the petro yuan is doing well. As I said in my videos, it's not going to dethrone the dollar overnight, but it's just going to give other countries, especially Eurasia, the option just to trade themselves and not need the dollars. And that's why I think there's so much geopolitical tension right now, because the U.S. realizes they're losing a lot of their how can I say, their power in Asia. So let's see, countrymen. Even on a low income budget, I buy 6 ounces of silver a month. That's good. I mean, instead of saving in fiat money. JL Allegra, come on, Mario. Greets from Spain. I'm concerned about what you've just said about central banks not creating any blockchain. Is there any better reason they are not embracing yet the technology? Well, it's because they don't because they'd lose control. They'd be they lose their power. It's the name of them is central bank. It's not decentralized bank, and cryptocurrencies are decentralized. So why would central banks want a cryptocurrency? I wouldn't trust central banks. We need to, as I say, we need to end central banks and the Fed. Not just the Fed, but the ECB, the Bank of England. They need to go the way of the dinosaurs. Let's have a look. Monique Klopp, 70% crypto, 10% metal, 10% real estate, cash. Yeah, I think it's good to have a diversification, and everyone's going to have a different, weighting. Let's see. Leonard Breitling, can you say a bit about EOS? Yeah, the reason why I've been interested in EOS for about 9 months is that the people behind it, especially Dan Larimer, has a track record with BitShares and Steemit, and they also use proof of stake instead of mining, so it makes it much easier and much faster. EOS will be able to transact like thousands, if not millions, of transactions per second, while Ethereum and Bitcoin can't. So I like EOS, and I add on to EOS as much as possible. And I think the thing about EOS is going to become more and more used by the community is growing and growing. I think they're going to have 21 block producers, but already they have over 100 that have applied to be block producers. So I think EOS has got a good future, and it's still under the radar, so to speak. Amy, Mario, what may happen to a reverse mortgage during a reset? I'm worried about my parents. I guess by reverse mortgage, you mean like taking equity out of your house? Yeah, I mean it's always if you have a $100,000 house and you borrow 50,000, and then you have to pay it back. But if the house drops to like 40, then you're underwater. Yeah, that, and they're coming after you for that. Let's see what else. Johnny Hicks, Mario, what do you know about IBORs? Do you mean LIBOR, Johnny? David Phillips, Mexico's okay. Let's see. Mexico's the largest silver producer and has less than 5 years of reserves at current rate of depletion. Please talk about silver. Well, David, yeah, you know more than I do about what the situation with Mexico. Silver, yeah, I like silver, and and in the next leg up, silver will outperform gold. So. Yeah, that ratio is going to drop, and gold is going to underperform silver, but it's also going to go up. I like silver. Robert Johnson, Trump is going to end the Fed and destroy the New World Order. Fact, what's your thoughts? Well, I hope that's true. I guess it's if he from day one he came out and said, "I'm going to end the Fed," he'd be probably he probably wouldn't be alive right now. So maybe that's his plan. I don't know. That would be great. Uh, let's see. Melanie, hi Monaco. Hi Melanie. Harmony 369, the hound is cute. Yeah, Billy is cute. IBOR is set to replace the LIBOR. Oh, okay. I mean, LIBOR just means London Interbank Offered Rate. There's also a LIBID, which is London Interbank Bid Rate. And it's basically the rate of reference they use for loans in the euro-dollar system. The euro-dollar, I don't mean, it's not the euro and the dollar. It's all the dollars that are offshore. They trade it out of London. So they're just going to have a new reference, IBOR. I hadn't heard of IBOR. But I saw Lynette Zhang thinks that the fact that they're going to phase out LIBOR is that they're going to have a default. I don't think that's the reason. I think I used to trade Eurodollar futures, which is based on LIBOR for big banks in London. And I spoke to one of my old clients a couple of years ago, and he said, Mario, LIBOR is not important anymore, even though people still look at it. And this guy's actually worked for Citibank, and now he's at JP Morgan, one of our enemies. Let's see. Jake Jones, mainland Chinese embrace cashless crypto using only phones while Hong Kong Chinese hold on dearly to cash and gold. Yeah, that's interesting, Jake. Albert List, Trump is a Jesuit, and Jesuits are the ones that control the world. He's controlled opposition and the one that's taking the fall so they can point a finger at something when it all comes down. I agree with that. The Jesuits, the Jesuits had the first intelligence service. I think they helped. They were behind the CIA. They're behind MI6. And if you look at the central bankers, Mario Draghi went to a Jesuit school in Rome. I think, I agree with that. The Jesuits are in control of the Pope, the Vatican now. I think the present Pope is the first Jesuit Pope. The Fed is outside the government. Yeah, they deceive none more. Yeah, the Fed is kind of a hybrid, I would say. It's it's a fascist institution. It gets the power from the government, but it's private at the same time. It privatizes the profits and it makes the losses public. Let's see what else. Randall McMurphy, nice. I can buy 1,000 more ounces of silver with my last month's crypto profits. That's good. Nicholas Smith, Mario, can there be room for 1,000 cryptos? What is the sweet spot in your opinion? I think there's a lot of tokens out there that will not exist in a few years' time. I don't know what the sweet spot is. As a believer in free markets, I think the free markets will determine how many cryptos and tokens there will be. I think it will depend on how big the communities are for that token. If you can grow a big community, then they will become, credible cryptocurrencies. Anonymous, weren't there a lot of dead bankers involving LIBOR? Yeah, I mean, a few years ago, there was a lot of bankers dying. And I think it involved everything that during the crisis, including LIBOR. Let's see what else. GG, interest rates are 0.5% here. Shock, shock. That's in the UK, I assume, GG. Yeah, they are 0.5%. They're still too low, in my opinion. I was talking about how, because I bought the FT today, which I usually don't buy, to look at the mainstream media, and the Economist, and it cost me £9.99 to buy a newspaper and a magazine. I mean, a few years ago, I would have probably paid £5. Gesso, does Billy have Dogecoin? No, but actually, I bought some Dogecoin years ago, back in 2013, when I was trading around the cryptocurrencies a little bit. I remember Dogecoin. Billy is more of a silver bug. He likes silver. Let's see. Robert Johnson, crypto is all a scam. The New World Order have created to trap the public. I don't know. It could be, but at the same time, some people have profited from cryptos. He could be right. We have to have an open mind. But I personally don't think it is. Or if it is, it's backfired on them because it's open source, decentralized. It's trustless. So maybe it is, but it's like maybe the internet was also created by the New World Order, but they didn't realize that people would be here talking about these things. GG, have you ever seen interest rate in Argentina? It's crazy. Yeah, GG, I was talking about it today. The front page of the FT. Sell-off spurs Argentina to raise interest rates to 40%. They're trying to basically, because the peso's collapsing, they had to increase interest rates to protect the currency. That happened in the UK in 1992. Just a few weeks after I arrived to work here in the UK, in the city, there's the pound collapse. That was when George Soros made his $1 billion when he shorted the pound. And I remember the Bank of England raised rates to 15%. And then the next day they cut it back to 10. So that's what central banks do. I like Dogecoin. Don't own any though. Yeah, I don't have Dogecoin at the moment. What else? Michael Quick. Ha ha ha. Don't be obtuse. What else? GG, doesn't 40% interest rates mean that almost everyone will forfeit their mortgage because they won't be able to pay? Yeah, I'm not sure how that will affect the mortgage rates. Some people have fixed rates. Yeah, it's just a mess, isn't it? You don't want to have any debt, I don't think. Even if you think the system is going to collapse and the monetary system will collapse, you can be sure that the bankers will make sure that you will pay your mortgage when the system is reset. That's why I think you should, try to get out of that as much as possible. Michael Quick, Hashgraph is the real crypto. The other stuff is obsolete. Hashgraph, I've listened to the presentations by the Hashgraph people. The only thing about Hashgraph that I don't like, it's not open source, so they won't be able to grow a community unless they go open source. Mr. B1923, is Billy really in charge? Yes, he is. He's actually the compliance officer, so I have to get his nod before I talk about any subject. So SDR is just a basket of currencies. That's right. SDR is just it's just taking the dollar and the other currencies and making it's just fiat money. Let's see. Thomas Torzi, check out correlation between U.S. debt and gold. 1 trillion will eventually equal $100 in gold. Could be right. Do you see a deflation in gold out of 2008 before it goes up again? That's from Shirin Chowdhury. I don't this time, because back in 2008, gold had gone up 400% since the beginning of the century, 2000. So we got like a 30% drop. But now gold, if you look at since the top in 2008, we're only up 30%. What else? So yeah, the FT here, I was talking about how Donald Trump or the US is telling China that they need to cut the deficit. And already the headline is wrong. They need to cut the surplus because China has a surplus, not a deficit. And I think we need to go back to a gold standard or free market money for that. Corrado Spataro, my name is Charlie. I can't understand if Soros is such a criminal, a big criminal. Why don't they arrest him big time? Um, well, he's well connected, Corrado. He's got a lot of money. He's part of the club. Uh, I, Ayub Ahmed, in Australia, our economy seems to do well. Hopefully, we escape the global crash. Yeah, I mean, Australia hasn't had a recession in decades, I think, but you guys do have a lot of debt as well. And if there's a global crash, I don't think Australia will be able to escape it. Josh one, do you think Bitcoin will take the place of gold? No, I don't think so. I think gold and silver will always be, despite the new technology, they will always be. They've got the track record. There will always be money. But cryptos could complement. You could have competing in the free market. The free market will decide. I personally will think that yeah, gold and silver and cryptos can function together. Nicholas Smith, if Joe Blow had $1,000, what would Mario say to throw it on today? Well, yeah, I would put 30% in gold, 30% in silver, and 30% in EOS. That's what I would do. Uh, so we've got now 224 viewers, which is good. Yesterday, I think we got up to 180. So this is. Do you think, Samuel W? Do you think platforms like Veritasium will take the place of the LBMA and COMEX? Uh, It could. It all depends. I think the thing for the cryptos, it's all about community. If they can build a huge network and a huge community, they will take over. Yeah, that's why they need to be decentralized. The revolution will not be centralized. I agree. That's Mr. B 1923. Sharon Chowdhury, what do you think about Dr. Mark Farber's opinion telling cryptos are a bubble? Um, I I think some cryptos are a bubble, but the technology, the open source distributed ledger is here to stay. But yeah, there are maybe current tokens that are a bubble, but I don't think it's a scam. Robert Johnston, EOS is a scam. Well, I don't think so. I've looked into it quite closely, and I don't think it's a scam. You've got it's a much better version of Steemit, and I can tell you Steemit is not a scam. I've earned quite a bit of Steem and Steem dollars over the last 2 years. So, and Steem is just and EOS is just going to be a much better Steem blockchain, but also you'll be able, excuse me, to build any application on it. Hervé Pratt, what do you think about Norwegian kronas? Well, Hervé, every currency is fiat money. So I haven't followed the Norwegian krona lately, but I guess if oil goes up in the short term, it should help the Norwegian krona. That's I think the thing to look at, oil. But apart from that, it's just a fiat money, just like all the other ones. Let's see. Jerome Mulder, hi, what's your view on Litecoin? Yeah, Litecoin, to be honest, I had some. I still have some, but not as much. I sold them. I did fairly well, and I put it into EOS. I haven't really looked into the protocol of Litecoin, but there is a lot of interest, and it seems to be quicker. Some people say it's the silver of cryptocurrencies and that Bitcoin is the gold, but I couldn't say more, but there's a lot of bullish predictions for Litecoin. Let's see. Anonymous, how does Norway own oil in Ireland? Did I mention Ireland? I don't know. Let's see. Will Nichols, when you own gold or silver and you want to spend it, what do you use as a currency? Well, you have to liquidate it into fiat currency, I guess. You know, I've done it before here in the UK, but there's also something. I recently got this card. It's called a glint card. This one here, and I've actually got grams of gold in it, and it's kept in a vault in Switzerland, and I can spend it. Actually, I can spend that gold. So it is possible now to spend gold. Uh, Norwegian central bank has no gold. Yeah, the Canadian central bank apparently also has like 60 ounces of gold. Um, Miguel Rebello, Olaf from Cabo Verde. What's the point of owning gold or silver when there's no food to buy on the supermarket shelves? Well, you know, I lived in Brazil, Miguel, back in the 80s, and I remember the currency collapsed there. And there's the supermarkets were empty, but my dad actually had dollars, and he was able to go to a farm and actually buy meat from the farmer, so with dollars. So farmers will take gold and silver when the currency collapses, so you will be able to get food with your gold and silver. Farmers are not stupid. So yeah, that's the point of owning gold and silver. Gigi, what do you think about Israel? Well, I've never been to Israel. Um, I don't know. You asking me about the country or the government or the political system? Uh, I mean, I've studied about the history. 1948, when the UN created, you know, the Arab state, Palestine and Israel, and it's been a mess. So it's a mess. That's Israel, and I think Israel wants to keep the surrounding countries in turmoil so that they don't get strong because it wants to keep the borders from 1967, which I think is wrong. Uh, let's see what else. Yeah, Zorn 101. Canada has zero gold. Yeah, the government has zero gold, even though Canada natural has a lot of gold under the ground, I guess. Uh, let's see. Naboza Jerebica, how's it going? Oil you futures in Shanghai. Yeah, I've spoken about that. It's growing. They're trading like a lot of contracts. The other day I saw they traded 70,000, so it's going well. It's here to stay. The yuan, Petro yuan. Ayub Ahmed, you need to do a segment on Australia. I will. I need to look into Australia a bit more, to be honest. Yeah, I haven't looked very closely. Leonard Breitling, what is the effect of the US gold being on the books for $35 an ounce? Do you think gold is in Fort Knox? Oh, actually, Leonard, the in the books, US gold is uh, valued at $42.22. It used to be valued at 35. Is there gold in Fort Knox? I think it's difficult. I don't think there is. There is gold in Fort Knox, but not as much as people say, because they would have done an audit if they had enough gold. And even if there is all the gold there, I think they've leased it out many times over, so they'd have to buy back the leases if they want to take legal possession of it. Anonymous, where did all the meat go? Why was it not in stores in Brazil? Brazil is like the ninth largest producer of beef. Where did they send it in the 80s? Well, Anonymous, the reason there is nothing in the supermarkets in the 80s in Brazil because the currency collapsed. So why would a farmer sell his meat and get the Brazilian Cruzeiro at the time it was that was worthless? That's what happens when there's a currency collapse. Producers of real things will not accept the paper currency, and that's why everything disappears. Even though Brazil is a rich country and has, all the resources. Let's see what else. So how can gold be leased? That's from 903 Boaster. Well, how can you people lease a car when you some people they buy a car, leasing company, they buy the cars and they lease it. That's the same thing with gold. They lease it out. But the thing with gold that is they lease an ounce many times over. The reason they can do that is because they don't deliver it. And the people who borrow the gold, they don't require the gold because they're usually the bullion banks, and they put it in the books. They just write a book entry and they sell it into the market. And that's how they manipulate it. So we've been here for almost an hour. So I think I'm going to end this live stream now. I'm going to thank everyone who's here. I really enjoyed this, and I'll be doing more of it. I will also keep doing my normal videos, of course. And I want to wish everyone a good weekend. And I'll probably be making another video tomorrow. So Billy still asleep, but he says goodbye. And I wish everyone a great weekend. And thanks for golf. And I played golf earlier, Leonard. I played this morning. It was really nice. Didn't play great, but had a bit of a stiff back. Answer your questions. Take care and have a great weekend. Bye.